Hello, hello. Good evening. This is Monica Kunsapaguta, your host here for South TV. Today is our usual Tuesday Health and Wellness Day, and we have Maxine Willocks. Maxine, could you greet our viewers, please?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maxine. I am a self-care angel guru, and I help people enhance their self-care to rid themselves of toxic behavior and toxic emotions. And I amplify this through love and kindness.
Fantastic. And I am so honored to have Christina Brown today. She's going to be telling us about the health benefits of her plant-based marijuana, right?
Yes.
Yes. And yeah, she's going to demystify some of the beliefs that we have. Certainly for me is to take out all the fears and the misunderstandings that we have around marijuana. So, Christina, can you introduce yourself to our audience, please?
Well, good evening, everybody, and it's such an honor to be here with you today. So, I am Christina, a young creative. I am a traveler, a model, a muse, and I'm just here to share with you my journey with marijuana and the plant based diet, and my journey with just nature and evolving as a young woman.
That's very interesting, Christina. When did you start taking the plant-based lifestyle and diet?
Monica, can I just say something before we go a little bit further? Christina, everyone, thank you so much, is calling in from Jamaica tonight. So if you hear a little bit of a feedback, it's just the internet. So again, Christina, what a pleasure to have you share your story.
Yes, definitely. We've been experiencing a lot of wind and rain lately. So, I know that affects the power lines a lot. And especially today, just getting calls and so forth from others, I'm realizing that the internet connection is not as strong as it usually is. So, my relationship with marijuana began when I enrolled in the University of the West Indies. There was a center there called the Wellness Space, in which a lot of young people that went to, a lot of young people that were interested in just culture and just the Jamaican lifestyle. We had a little restaurant there that was called the Wellness Space Restaurant. They were only strictly plant-based diet food or cooked here and sold, and everybody, regardless of their race, their religion, whatever, because the university is a melting pot of persons. They came to this space just to feel, whole and healthy and partake in dishes that would it's not just something to eat, it's something that would actually allow you to be your best and just feel great and have the energy that you would need to take on your daily routine. So here in this space, I met a lot of young persons like myself, a lot of persons from the Rastafari faith that engage in the use of marijuana. And, I was just very impressed in terms of just how open they were to just sharing their journey in life entirely and just their diet and their lifestyle, including marijuana and just how they ate and so forth. And I was just interested in this plant because just being a young Jamaican girl, you hear so many things about ganja. And so this was just my first hand experience, something that I could talk about for myself, not just hearsay. I could really experience the plant and just this plant-based lifestyle. And so when I became a vegetarian, it was a transition. So I didn't go cold turkey. I decided just to take different steps. So being introduced to the wellness space, I decided that, I'm going to challenge myself, not because I grew up eating meat and just a lot of starch and a lot of things means that I need to continue to do this, and especially being exposed of the benefits and so forth, just by lessening your intake of meat and seeing just how your body responds and how you feel inside, feeling a bit lighter. and just feeling great inside. I was like, I'm very interested to see. So I didn't make up my mind right away then and there that, I'm definitely going to do this vegetarian thing. But I thought that I should actually just try to at least reduce my intake of a lot of things that weren't the best for me. So things such as dairy. I have a skin condition sometimes if I take in a little too much dairy, that's eczema. So I realized that reducing animal intake, especially in the form of dairy, helped me to manage eczema. Because what that would do is give me a higher pigmentation, especially in my forehead and so forth on my skin. So I would almost look as if I was bleaching, sort of thing, when I took in too much dairy. So just doing that, I realized I started to feel great, and my thought was clear, and this was great to just help me with school and just help me in my personal relationship and incorporating things such as meditation and mindfulness, all of these things, just holistic living overall. I realized how useful this could be to me. I started to share this with my family and friends and whoever I thought would be interested in this kind of lifestyle about just how I feel. So when I started, I would do, like, say for example, I decided, okay, I'm gonna stay away from meat. Let's say I'll do meat probably once per week, and then it went to a month, and then a few months, and then before I knew it, I realized that I hadn't had any meat intake for a year, and then it went to 2 years, and now it's almost at 3 years. So that's been my journey so far with plant-based medicine and marijuana.
Wow.
Christina, can I ask you a question? You've gone 3 years now plant-based. What would you say are the two top things that you have noticed when you used to eat meat compared to when you don't eat meat now? What are the two things that are so obvious to you?
Mm.
So I feel a lot lighter. I just feel lighter. Like just by eating a lot more greens and papa and pop chow and so many of those beautiful things that we have here in Jamaica. So by the way, I'm vegetarian. I don't want to misguide anyone. I still do consume seafood occasionally. So yes, I'm really vegetarian, and I try to really stick to a plant-based diet. Some of the top two things that I can see is definitely I've seen where my skin has improved. I just feel great. So I used to have, like, especially in high school, I think it was the dairy, and at the time I didn't realize that that was the connection. I would have, like, diarrhea a lot, or I would, I'd have constipation and stuff like that. And so staying away from certain foods that I saw where that was completely reduced to the point where I no longer had these things. And things like my period cycle, it wasn't as painful. It wasn't nearly as painful as when I was consuming meat. So those are a few of the top two things that I'm seeing by just changing my diet.
It sounds like there is quite a lot of benefits from changing your diet to plant-based, because certainly a lot of women suffer from cramps and period pains, as well as their skin is very important. Our skin is very important to us. And so if those two things are messed up, they affect our moods, and they affect our confidence and self-esteem.
Absolutely.
So Maxine, how much of the plant-based diet do you follow? Or do you follow that at all?
Christina's a little bit more advanced in her plant-based diet than I am because from time to time I will still consume chicken. Monica, for sure. I have a salad 3 to 4 days per week. And once I do that, my my tummy doesn't bloat. Again, when you eat that combination of the right foods, you feel full, you feel satisfied. You don't necessarily need something sweet after a meal because all your taste buds have been hit.
Interesting. So certainly the marijuana has been politicized.
Yes.
What is your take with what is going on now? What do you think changed that now even many huge companies are now growing it, and the criminalization of it has been lifted? This question is for you.
So I'll go first in the meantime, Auntie Max. So I just think that I realized this is really $1 billion industry. It's $1 billion industry, and there's so many benefits to persons. People are becoming more open-minded with technology. Thankfully, we have information at our fingertips, and so these ones fearful beliefs that we had at plants, now we're able to see testimonies of other people. We're able to get information, not just assuming anymore. So we have this right at our fingertips, so we no longer have the I don't know excuse. You're able to get the information right then and there. So I just think it's just a matter of time, and where they see that it's very profitable at this time to be investing in our people and the way that they eat, and the herbs that they're utilizing just to explore themselves, and just to take the edge off, and just to realize that at the end of the day, all that really matters is love for all of us. So I think that they really just realize that it's beneficial to people, and it's $1 billion industry.
Wow. You know what, Chrissy, great share. If I could just add on to that, I mean, if you were to look at the marijuana plant, this plant has been used in ceremonies. This is a plant that belongs to the earth and to people, that they've used in religious ceremonies. Just the word ganja alone, that we use that in Jamaica. Yes. It's a Sanskrit word, and if you look at ganja and the Hindu religion, I mean, it's part of their religious practices. I came across an article that said that in Italy, Rastafarians can use cannabis in religious sessions. So, I mean, marijuana is a plant that has been around for thousands of years, right? So, I just, as Christina said, the information is at your fingertips, and it's the knowledge is there if you want to find it.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Maxine, I don't know which gadget is on. The sound is bouncing back. I don't know if you can hear it.
Chrissy, do you have your cell phone or your computer? There's a bit of an echo. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, I'm doing this on my laptop. I'm not sure if what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my cell phone out the room just to see.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah.
So I don't know whether it's coming from Chrissy or it's coming from you, but there is an echo that's coming when one of you is talking.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Well, we'll just try and speak clear and concise. And I do apologize to the viewers tonight. I hope everyone's having a fabulous night and enjoying our ganja talk.
Terrific Tuesday to everybody.
Terrific Tuesday to talk about the benefits of herbal marijuana. Okay.
Yes.
So maybe Maxine, you might want to repeat what you said because it wasn't clear, the question that you asked.
Yeah, Christina, I would just love for you maybe to share how you use the marijuana, and just when you use it, and what are some of the effects that you feel, and why do you use it?
So one of the first effects that I feel of marijuana is it helps me to just be a lot more calmer, and just to look at the bigger picture, what really happens. And to me, with marijuana or anything else that you're able to use that can alter, just the way you view life and things, I think it's it would only bring out what's already there then. So I feel like if I'm in a meditative state and I use some ganja, I just feel more meditative and closer to source and closer to the divine. I think it's something that you can program how you would like to use marijuana. So most of the times I use it as a reward, or kind of like to relax. So after I got through a few things that I intended to do for the day, then I give this to myself as a reward then. And I would use it through the method of the steam chalice I was telling you earlier. I'd say 90% of the time, that's how I use marijuana. And as I was telling you that you're welcome to use herbs, that's what I do. I use other herbs such as fever grass, I was telling you, and rosemary and so forth within my steam chalice. And, occasionally I like a spliff because I think that there's a difference between a spliff high and a chalice high. I think a chalice high is a bit more meditative. And I think a spliff high is just, the vibes, you're just ready to cool out, to just have fun and just relax.
Yeah.
What's the what is
What would you say to people that, one of the stigma about marijuana, especially in Jamaican culture, is that only people that are crazy use marijuana and that kind of concept and the stigma that comes with that. And even within our family, what are some of the prejudice that you have faced?
Yeah, definitely. I think people just think that once you use marijuana, you're just going off in the wind, that you don't have a sense of direction or a vision for your life, or that you're somehow not as productive as someone that doesn't use marijuana, which I think is a total fallacy. Absolutely. Because as I said before, I think it really just amplifies whatever mood I'm in, whatever intention I place in that space and time, then it does that. I think it's just ignorance and us loving a lot of the times, not loving what we have then, because this is a plant, it is a herb, it comes from nature. So it's just amazing to see some of the misconceptions we have of this. I would say if you have any history of mental illness, then I wouldn't advise you to utilize marijuana or LSD or anything like that. If you have a history of mental illness, or if you're dealing with any anxiety or depression, anything of mental instability or thereabout, then I wouldn't advise you to use marijuana. In this case, I would advise you to, seek counselor, whatever it is that you need to get to, your higher state and vibration, and then you would be welcome to engage in this plant. Because as I said, I think it really just, it amplifies whatever state you are in. So I feel like if you're really sad and, decide, oh, I want to smoke a spliff, it's not a must that you must become sad, but I think that it's a possibility that it may just amplify that state then. So I ensure that when I'm using marijuana, I'm in a great state. If I'm sad or upset or angry, I'm not going to be like, oh, let me go and get a spliff. I try to be my highest vibration, my highest consciousness before I decide to engage in that plant.
Yeah.
so do you use it as recreation or for healing?
I would say it's a little bit of both for sure. It's a little bit of both for sure. Because, yeah, definitely I have my times, especially, closer to the weekend, you're unwinding, you've had a long, productive week, Yes, I might engage in rolling a spliff thereabout and just, relaxing and just, allowing my thoughts just go and flow, Let's see, reflecting on the week and just deciding where I'd like to place my intention for the next week, what are the goals and so forth that I'd like to go for it and accomplish.
Yeah. Chrissy, if I can just ask a couple of questions, I'll ask them and then I'll give you the opportunity to respond. I've seen Mike Tyson and he's made a comeback, and one of the things he always says is, he says that he is so much more of a nice person when he smokes marijuana, and he is a better person to his family. Now, that's one question I'm going to ask you to get around to. But and also, Jamaican CBD and marijuana is renowned for the organic state that it's produced in. Would you
Yes.
be able to maybe touch on that as well?
Well, I think being that we have been spearheaded the marijuana movement, especially in collaboration with Rastafari, then it's no surprise how then we'd have some of the most potent marijuana and CBD. There are persons that have committed their life to growing the purest form of ganja that you can find. There are persons that would do this there are some persons that engage in like animal fertilizer, and there are those that theirs is strictly plant-based. So no kind of animal fertilizer or anything like that. It's just the purest form. So I think it's just or people utilizing what they have. And ganja has done so much for a lot of people. It's their livelihood. Many persons have utilized this to take their children to school. They have built their families, their business through growing and selling and utilizing marijuana.
Wow. Monica, if I could just add something else, I mean, one of the things that as a Jamaican myself that I love is the connection of plant and man with the marijuana. It feels like in Jamaica there is such a respect for this plant. It's something that nature has given, and we honor it. The love and the connection, and trying to keep the product with the integrity and the respect that it deserves is very prevalent in Jamaica. And I don't know if it's that the connection that the Rastas have with the plant, why this plant that grows in Jamaica, the potency in terms of the healing is really of the highest standards.
Definitely, we have to give Rastafari a lot of praise and credit for that. Because one of the most famous Rastadens, if you want to say that, is Bob Marley. We know what once you talk about Bob, we talk about ganja. There's not one without the other, right? So we really have to give Rastafari a lot of credit for just the way they incorporate this sacred plant into their daily lives, and how they have devoted their entire existence to just keeping this plant as pure as it can possibly be, and just sharing with whomever they're able to do that with. So we have to big up the Rastafari men and women for that one, for sure.
You can see culturally, I think you can see from my contribution that on my side it kind of doesn't exist. In the sense that it's probably, yes, it is there in Zimbabwe, and it is used probably by a very few people. My understanding
Wow.
is very mild, probably
Mm-hmm.
just through work, where I was working in mental health, and they would show us drugs, and to say, if you see this will be marijuana, if you see this will be cocaine, this will be that, and these are the effects. And so when they say that there are people who suffer drug induced psychosis for taking marijuana, then to me, then it's something that terrifies me. I probably think I'm not the only one. There's probably so many people who would need to work through learning to understand the benefits, and to have the confidence to, you know to say, it is safe to use. Can you talk about other benefits to it, or the type of illnesses that people are using this herb for?
Well, I'll go first on this one if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Marijuana is or CBD is known to help with sleep, anxiety, pain, reduce seizures, and this is the thing
epilepsy.
about marijuana. We really only tend to have studied the CBD and the THC, and the THC is, the one that gets you high. And
Yeah,
there are so many other benefits to this plant that we know nothing about. It's been around for thousands of years, um, but it's just not been studied. And hopefully, as we see the connection between plant-based wellness and how it can heal us, that and I would love for somewhere like Jamaica to be a pioneer in studies like this. Wink, wink, Chrissy.
definitely.
So it is a miraculous plant with limited knowledge.
Definitely. And if I may also add to what Maxine is saying, there's been, so I was a part of a talk show called Ganja Talk. So I had the opportunity to produce a show on the university campus that deals with just ganja and so many of the benefits. And, I was around persons that actually grew the plant. And this horticulturist, I had the opportunity of working with Michelle Emmanuel, who is an horticulturist at the University of the West Indies, and it's just interesting the benefits that marijuana has. I've seen studies where it says, it helps to slow tumors and stuff like that. And many persons will tell you that, their grandparents, there are women that have grandparents that were, they were open to using the plant, and they would mix, ganja with things like white rum and pimento seed. And when it is the time of the young woman cycle, they would use this to reduce pain, as Maxine mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And so the benefits of this plant is just, as Maxine said, it's definitely a limited knowledge that is there. It's really untap the magic of marijuana, especially once you're able to incorporate other things such as plant-based, because it's holistic living, so it's not just ganja. It's just promoting more of a holistic lifestyle that can help to benefit all of us, mind, body, and spirit.
Christina, if I can just ask a question, if we can make it just personal, since you have been using marijuana in your personal life for your healing and your growth, can you maybe share some of that experience with us tonight?
Absolutely. So I just feel like ganja has helped me to become a lot more aware of myself, a lot more mindful, a lot more, meditative, and just realizing the power of my own energy and how I wish to direct that energy, and just helping me to be even more compassionate than I was before and kinder than I was before, just by staying still. Because we are taught about power and movement, but we aren't given a lot of information about how important it is to just be still and just reflect on your experiences and how you like to go forward and evolve as a person. So the benefits that ganja has revealed in my life, it's limitless, and I'm just so grateful that I live in a cultural society that accept this plant, and where I was able to explore this plant in a safe way. I think that we have to open up ourselves to the things that are available to us, and this is one of those things. We can use this plant to not only for recreational purposes and for meditative purposes, but for things like for pain, especially for women. We experience so many things, especially at that time, to our cycle, a lot of, our emotions, hormone imbalance and stuff like that. But as for me, going back to me, it's just really helped me to become a lot more mindful and a lot calmer. And, just really seeing the value of my energy and the energy that I decide to pull out, and realizing that, I have the power within myself to create everything that I desire, and it all starts here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's great sharing, Chris.
I have a question where you mentioned that it's beneficial to women. It's beneficial to women when it comes to their menstrual cycle.
Definitely.
Yes. So what method do they use? Do they soak it in water? Do they drink it? Do they cook it? How do they use it to benefit them during that period?
Well, it depends on what they're comfortable with and what they're open to. So if they're open to smoking a joint, they are welcome to do that. If they're open to making the tea, they are welcome to do that. Or to vaporizing with the steam chalice, as I said, that's my method that I use most of the time. So whichever they're comfortable with, putting it in things like white rum along with pimento and so forth. And then whenever they're seeing pain, they're able just to take that and rub their tummy or wherever that they are feeling pain. So that's some of the ways that we can use as women marijuana to benefit us during our menstrual cycle.
Monica, one thing I wanted to add with that is it's so funny because even in Jamaican society, you have a line that people will use marijuana and another line that people look down on marijuana. But in that category of people that look down on marijuana, they're still willing to drink the tea, which is interesting. Yeah. So they know of the benefits, right? It's you
That
know, that
mhm.
social and cultural thing again.
That's interesting because now it's coming to where people are influenced by what somebody else thinks.
Yes.
And so, if that is what is coming into play, it prevents them from doing what they would otherwise use to benefit them, but are not because they are worried about what the next person would say. So, when they are among those who say or who claim, or of which there might be some who take it behind closed doors, and then when they are standing where everybody is in public, they will chastise those who take it or those who talk about it and are comfortable with it. And then in private, they use it. It's human nature.
Wow. And and Chrissy, if you could just clarify something for me. In Jamaica, how many ounces or grams are you allowed to carry? And what is the official rule on the plant being legal or illegal?
So it's decriminalized at this point. So marijuana is decriminalized thing since I don't remember the exact year. I know it's not that long ago, but it's decriminalized. So you're able to carry 2 ounces. 2 ounces, and you are allowed to plant 5 plants.
Five
Okay.
plants. Wonderful. And is there a special type of marijuana that you have identified with that you like to smoke with, be it the taste or the type of experience? Is there a specific type that you use?
Well, to be honest, no, there's not necessarily a specific type. I just try to get the cleanest and most organic. The setting, though, which I love to use marijuana the most, is just being with a group of friends and just, or us just speaking about whatever we're going through and how we're trying to go forward, and just a lot of events that's happening, in the world that we think that is maybe distraction for persons, just distracting the people rather than, focusing what you're really here on what you're really here to do. So that's one of my favorite settings to really utilize the plan in.
So to release and reset the mind.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that you're coming together as a group, and so there are other benefits just to being with other people.
Mm.
Won't be just that there is eating, there is sharing, and there is that communal aspect of being with other people. Can you mentioned steam chalice? I'm
Yes.
curious. I'm
You say
learning
it
so much.
so
I'm
nicely.
curious. It's probably something that I would never I've never come across it, and then
Yeah.
probably, and this is my first time even to hear of the name. Could
Yes.
you show us if you have it?
You like to see the steam chalice again?
Yes.
I think
Yes.
our
So
audience is dying to.
yes. So this is the coconut in which you would put the water in for the steam chalice. And then this is the little pipe here that you would inhale the marijuana through. And then I am reaching for you that kochi that you will put the marijuana in, and then you would put it on top here. Where did I? Okay, yes, beautiful. So this is the what we call the kochi, and inside here is where the marijuana would go in, along with the other herb. And then there's a little piece of device then that you would cover it with, and then you would layer it with coconut shell, which would be the heat element. So there's not direct fire being applied to the marijuana as it would be in the case of a spliff. So it's
Oh,
vaporizing. So, usually in Jamaica, there's a stigma about the smell. So with a steam chalice, there is no smell. There's only you tasting the flavor of the actual ganja.
right.
And
So,
what is the most popular method of
mm,
smoking in marijuana in Jamaica, would you say?
The popular, I would say, to use in a paper, probably a lion pride paper or a raw paper. I think that's the most common way in Jamaica to utilize marijuana.
And what's the
Definitely.
most creative way you've seen?
What is the most?
Creative way or fun way?
Creative or well, for me that would definitely be the steam chalice, just because you're able to incorporate other herbs, so it's not just ganja. You're able to use a little rosemary, a little peppermint, a little garlic, if you're feeling a bit stuffy. So this is where this would be, aromatherapy and therapeutic for you. You're able to use ginger. That's so good for the stomach. So I would say the most fun way to me would definitely be the steam chalice.
Wow. It sounds too like that really helps with your digestive tract as
mm,
well.
Definitely, and help you to open up your appetite, which is why it's very important to eat when before utilizing ganja and to stay hydrated for sure.
yeah, I think if somebody is not feeling well and they lost their appetite, might be something that would help them to then nourish themselves.
Definitely, and I've read a lot of stories and so forth like that with it helping cancer patients. Usually after going to chemotherapy and so forth, you use your appetite, and a lot of person have used ganja oil just to be able to open up that desire for food again and to nourish one's body, as you mentioned earlier.
So how do you know which one is for recreation and which one is for healing?
Which method of ganja is for recreation and which method is for healing?
Which type?
Which type, which strain?
Mm,
I think it's just definitely like trial and error. It's whatever whatever feels good for that person. So it could be an indica strain, it could be a sativa strain. It's just whatever feels good for your body. Whatever feels good for your body.
Christina,
Whatever.
if I could add something to that when you're finished, please.
Definitely go ahead.
yeah.
So, Monica, if how do you know which? Well, I would think it depends on what your symptom is. Let's say, you're in a lot of pain. Some people want that THC to numb that pain. Um,
Definitely.
right? Some people, if they just have anxiety and they want to relax, they might want to have a little bit of CBD and THC mixed in. So again, it's like what Christina says, trial and error. But you can look up to see what is best for. And the difference between indica and sativa is more for like mental focus. Indica is relaxation, right? So indica would be more, I would think, appropriate for daytime kind of use, whereas the indica, which tends to be heavier, like a heavier THC, is more nighttime or recreational, if you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I once saw a video where a man was trembling with Parkinson's, and they
Yes.
gave him marijuana, and in about 10 minutes, the traumas had stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be the indica, or is something totally different? What would that be? What would they need to use?
Monica, you know what? I'm not sure, but I would say this, that one of the things that plant is known for is relaxation of the mind. Right? So when the mind is calm, people have used marijuana to wean people off like heavy opioids because that body goes into this. Whereas when you have that, it just kind of calms you down and takes you back. Right?
Mhm.
So, like I said, we're not experts. It's just we're just having a
No.
conversation as two
Absolutely.
authentic Jamaican girls.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely. I think it's important to have these discussions and demystify some of the the concepts that come along with these subjects, but also it opens a platform for conversation so that
Yes.
those who want to go and research more will
Yes.
go and do that, and to help them to be informed about what they need at any given time. Someone might be listening to this program and they had no idea that it helps people with Parkinson's, it helps with period pains. And so they'll go and find their herbalist and get more information about that. It is important.
and it always starts with a conversation, Monica, because as
Yes.
you said, you never know that one thing will connect to the person that needs to hear that message. So, having a respectful conversation is it's really that's it's just sharing, right?
Absolutely.
Empowering.
We have a comment here. Joe is saying learning a lot from this discussion. So
Oh, that's
yes,
beautiful.
it's important. And it's good to have someone who is totally naive on the panel. Who will be asking, because they're just coming from with a very clean slate
Yes.
and they want to know. And probably some of the things that would have kept them from seeking the information is because they're also worried about the stigma as well as what they have heard over the years that
Yes.
is, and so it prevents them from learning more so that they understand this this herb, which seems to have been there for a very long time and has benefited generations.
And
And
generations.
strange enough, people actually respect it when it's on the Jamaican side. And then when it crosses over to other cultures, it's a totally different story. But I would encourage people to, just be curious and get to learn about what is it that people of Jamaican origin and the wisdom that you respect. What is it about that? And find out more. It's good to talk to the elderly.
Oh, yes.
We get to learn so much.
Well, Monica, I would just like to say, as a Jamaican and proud Jamaican, ganja has been a part of our heritage, and I am proud of that plant. It's our heritage. It heals people. There's connections, and as I grow and I help more people, and more studies come out about this plant. If we can help people in a way for them to heal in a natural, organic way, then it is worth the research.
Yes, I totally agree. Because when you look at most conventional medications, it will sort out one issue and have a dozen of side effects, which will then require you to take another tablet, which has its own side effects to combat the side effects from the first one. Eh,
Mm-hmm.
And it just becomes a roller coaster where you have about 6, 7 types of medication which are fighting each other. So if those could be reduced
Yes.
and add the natural therapy to it, it would benefit a lot of people.
Absolutely, Monica. And
Mhm.
and there's so many stages you can begin with. Start off with a CBD if
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you're not sleeping well. Just put your toe in the water first and
Yeah.
experiment from there. There are topical rubs. There's just so many ways that you can find out if this is something that can benefit you as an individual.
Yes. Someone is asking a question here. In Jamaica, is ganja used by children?
Not that I'm aware of. I've never really witnessed any children using marijuana. It's usually, late adolescents that at least 18 years old going forward that usually would engage. Yeah, not that I'm aware of, not
Yeah.
children, more
I think
teen,
Jamaicans are
adolescent.
pretty responsible when it comes to that. Yeah, the same practices that we have abroad. And there are age limits as well when purchasing the product.
Definitely. Especially when you go inside dispensaries rather and so forth. You'd usually have to be, I believe, 18 years and older to be able to purchase anything in the dispensaries we have here. So no, we wouldn't promote marijuana for children, especially not for recreational purposes. I've seen there's like a documentary I watched on Netflix where, there's children experiencing seizures and stuff like epilepsy, and they'd have, let's say, 30 seizures in a day. And by their parents giving them ganja oil, it's reduced to even one to the point, and then it goes to even none at all.
Mm.
So in that case, then yeah, ganja oil for children with ailments and so forth, but for recreational purposes, no.
Okay. That's interesting. Maxine, have you got anything else to add?
Well, I just wanted to thank Christina for coming on and having this ganja talk with us. Um, it's fascinating, and I just wanted to share something personal. Christina and I have had some differences lately, and it's we didn't communicate for 2 years. So I just want to encourage people that healing is an ongoing thing.
Process. Yes.
Be open to it.
Mhm.
And, when it comes, just be prepared to move forward. Don't look back, move forward.
Mhm.
And you will get to those steps that will not only heal you, but ultimately give you a better relationship than what you had before. And that's what growth is about.
I like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if I may add, yeah, healing is not linear because there are things that happen and you think that, next week you don't feel, I don't feel too bad. And then probably a week after you're all in your emotions and so forth. So it's definitely not linear. So have patience with yourself regardless of the situation, whether that's one with a family member, partner, or whomever. Just have patience with yourself, be kind and compassionate to yourself, and just know that you have everything that you desire and everything that you need is always within you first. And I definitely want to thank you guys for the opportunity to be here and just to share my testimony and journey with marijuana and just a plant-based holistic lifestyle.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Christina, for taking time to come and educate us and to share with us your knowledge, your journey, and your experience. I certainly have learned quite a lot tonight, and my views have shifted. I think when the traveling starts, I'll probably, I would probably come and witness how the ganja talk is like, just to witness the community and continue to learn from that. I really appreciate you for taking time to come and share with us. And Maxine, I also appreciate you for introducing your niece to us. And I want to thank you because this act that you did in this last minute here to talk about the connection and the connection, and forgiveness and healing that we need to do as family when something goes wrong. I want to applaud you for that. It's if for a moment I just thought, I think now we're having a ganja moment. But yes, thank you so much. It's been great having this discussion. Christine, I don't think this is the last time you're coming onto this platform. I'm
I
pretty
certainly hope not.
I'm
I,
pretty sure that we will be inviting you again. There might be other topics that are not necessarily about marijuana, but
yes,
maybe about just women and the way we view
yes,
beauty, we view
yes,
beauty and our complexions and all that. We could have
yes.
a discussion here, which is great. Let me just read one more comment here. Um, we were taught the wrong things about marijuana. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
absolutely, that is true. And so let us empower ourselves. Let us learn for ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
educate each other so that we are not misinformed about
Right.
about things which are beneficiary to us as a Black people, as a Black community,
Yes.
so that we are able to produce our own results which benefit us and our children. Thank you so much, ladies. And to all the viewers, we appreciate you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.